सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सच्चिदानंदरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्च अर्थेष्वभिघ्नस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं। समस्त देवताभ्यो ऋषिभ्यो मुनिभ्यो गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराण आचार्येभ्यो नमः। परब्रह्मणे महाविष्णवे ब्रह्मणे सनकादिमुनिभ्यो नारदाय वेदव्यासाय शुकब्रह्मर्षे सूतमहामुने शौनकादृषिभ्यो वैशम्पायनादृषिभ्यो अत्र्यादृषिभ्यो प्रह्लादादिभक्तजनेभ्यो मत्स्यादि अवतारेभ्यो आदित्यादिनाग्विग्रह देवताभ्यो नमः। श्री दक्षिणामूर्ति दत्तात्रेय हयग्रीवादिगुरुभ्यो नमः। श्री आदिवराशक्तिमात्रे नमः। श्री आद्यशंकराचार्यवर्यादिगुरुभ्यो नमः। श्री माता पितृदेवताभ्यो नमः। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम श्री कृष्ण परब्रह्मणे नमः। श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराणो पारायणम् with all the devotion possible. Let us encash this opportunity of chanting Srimad Bhagavata Mahapuranam, followed by little Adhyanam. Till yesterday, we completed the chanting of 11th Skandha. Today onwards, it is 13 chapters are there. We will be chanting the last 12th Skandha. Om Atha Dvadasha Skandhasya Parayanam. Om Abhasascha Nirodhascha Yataschadhyavasiyate Sa Ashrayah Param Brahma Paramatmeti Shabdayate. ओम श्री कृष्ण परब्रह्मणे नमः। अथ द्वादश स्कन्धः प्रथमोऽध्यायः। राजोवाच स्वधामानुगते कृष्णे यदुवंशविभूषणे कस्य वंशोऽभवत् पृथ्व्याम् एतदाचक्ष्व मे मुने। श्रीशुक उवाच योऽन्त्यः पुरञ्जयो नाम भाव्यो बार्हत् रथो नृप तस्यामात्यस्तु शुनकः हत्वा स्वामिनमात्मजं प्रद्योतसंज्ञं राजानं कर्ता यत्पालकः सुतः विशाखयूपस्तत्पुत्रः भविता राजकस्ततः नन्दिवर्धनः तत्पुत्रः पञ्चप्रद्योतना इमे अष्टत्रिंशोत्तरशतं भोक्ष्यन्ति पृथिवीं नृपाः। शिशुनागस्ततो भाव्यः काकवर्णस्तु तत्सुतः क्षेमधर्मासुतस्तस्य क्षेत्रज्ञः क्षेमधर्मजः विदिसारस्सुतस्तस्य अजातशत्रुर्भविष्यति दर्भकस्तत्सुतो भावी दर्भकस्याजयः स्मृतः नन्दिवर्धन आजेयः महानन्दिस्तु तत्सुतः शिशुनागादशैवेते षष्ट्युत्तरशतत्रयं समाभोक्ष्यन्ति पृथिवीं कुरुश्रेष्ठकलौ नृपाः। महानन्दिसुतो राजन् शूद्री गर्भोद्भवो बले महापद्मपतिः कश्चित् नन्दः क्षत्रविनाशकृतो ततो नृपा भविष्यन्ति शूद्रप्रायास्त्वधार्मिकाः। स एकच्छत्रां पृथ्वीम् अनुल्लङ्घितशासनः शासिष्यति महापद्मः द्वितीय इव भार्गवः तस्य चाष्टौ भविष्यन्ति सुमाल्यप्रमुखाः सुताः य इमां भोक्ष्यन्ति महीं राजानश्च शतं समाः नवनन्दान्विजः कश्चित् प्रपन्नान् उद्धरिष्यति तेषाम् अभावे जगति मौर्या भोक्ष्यन्ति वै खलौ स एव चन्द्रगुप्तं वै द्विजो राज्येऽभिषेक्ष्यति तत्सुतो वारिसारस्तु ततश्चाशोकवर्धनः सुयशा भविता तस्य सङ्गतः सुयशः सुतः शालिशुकस्ततस्तस्य सोमशर्मा भविष्यति शतधन्वा ततस्तस्य भविता तद्बृहद्रथः मौर्या हेते दश नृपाः सप्तत्रिंशत्शतोत्तरं समाभोक्ष्यन्ति पृथिवीं कलौ कुरुकुलोद्वः हत्वा बृहद्रथं मौर्यं तस्य सेनापतिः कलौ पुष्यमित्रसुशृङ्गाह्वः स्वयं राज्यं करिष्यति अग्निमित्रस्ततस्तस्मात् सुज्येष्ठोऽथ भविष्यति वसुमित्रो भद्रकश्च पुलिन्दो भविता ततः घोषः सुतस्तस्मात् वज्रमित्रो भविष्यति ततो भागवतः तस्मात् देवभूतिरिति श्रुतः शृङ्गादशैते भोक्ष्यन्ति भूमिं वर्षशताधिकं ततः कण्वानियं भूमिः यास्यत्यल्पगुणान् नृप शृङ्गं हत्वा देवभूतिं कण्वो मात्यस्तु कामिनं स्वयं करिष्यते राज्यं वसुदेवो महामदेः तस्य पुत्रस्तु भूमित्रः तस्य नारायणः सुतः नारायणस्य भविता सुशर्मा नाम विश्रुतः काण्वायन इमे भूमिं चत्वारिंशच्च पञ्च च शतानि त्रीणि भोक्ष्यन्ति वर्षाणां च कलौ युगे हत्वा काण्वं सुशर्माणं तद्भृत्यो वृषलो बले गां भोक्ष्यत्यान्ध्रजातीयः कञ्चित् कालम् असत्तमः कृष्णनामः तद्भ्राता भविता पृथिवीपतिः श्रीशातकर्णस्तत्पुत्रः पौर्णमासस्तु तत्सुतः लम्बोदरस्तु तत्पुत्रः तस्मात् शिबिलको नृपः मेघस्वातिः शिबिलका तु हठमानस्तु तस्य च अनिष्टकर्मा हालेयः तलकस्तस्य चात्मजः पुरीशभीरुस्तत्पुत्रः ततो राजा सुनन्दनः चकोरो बहवो यत्र शिवस्वातिररिन्दमः तस्यापि गोमतिः पुत्रः पुरीमान् भविता ततः मेघशिराः शिवस्कन्दः यज्ञश्रीस्तत्सुतस्तदः विजयस्तत्सुतो भाव्यः चन्द्रविघ्नः सलोमधीः एते त्रिंशन्नृपतयः चत्वार्यब्दशतानि च षट्पञ्चाशच्च पृथिवीम् भोक्ष्यन्ति कुरुनन्दन सप्ताभीरा आवभृत्य दशगर्दभिनो नृपाः षोडशाः भूपाला षोडश भूपालाः भविष्यन्ति अतिलोलुपाः ततोष्ठायवना भाव्याः चतुर्दश तुरुष्ककाः भूयो दश गुरुडण्डाश्च मौना एकादशैव तु एते भोक्ष्यन्ति पृथिवीं दशवर्षशतानि च नवाधिकां च नवतिं मौनाम् एकादशक्षितीं भोक्ष्यन्त्यब्दशतान्यङ्ग त्रीणि तैः संस्थिते ततः किल किलायां नृपतयः भूतनन्दोऽथ वङ्गिरिः शिशुनन्दिश्च तद्भ्राता यशोनन्दिः प्रवीरकः इत्येते वै वर्षशतं भविष्यन्त्यधिकानि षटो तेषां त्रयोदशसुता भवितारश्च बाह्लिकाः पुष्यमित्रोऽथ राजन्यः दुर्मित्रोऽस्य तथैव च एककाल इमे भूपाः सप्तान्ध्राः सप्तकोसलाः विदूरपतयो भाव्या नैषधास्तत एव हि मागधानां तु भविता विश्वस्फूर्तिपुरञ्जयः करिष्यति अपरो वर्णान् पुलिन्दयदुमद्रकान् प्रजाश्चाब्रह्मभूयिष्ठाः स्थापयिष्यति दुर्मतिः वीर्यवान् क्षत्रमुत्साद्य पद्मवत्यां स वै पुरी अनुगङ्गामाप्रयागं गुप्तां भोक्ष्यति मेदिनीम् सौराष्ट्रावन्त्याभीराश्च शूरा अर्बुदमाळवाः व्रात्या द्विजा भविष्यन्ति शूद्रप्राया जनाधिपाः सिन्धोस्तटं चन्द्रभागां कौन्तीं काश्मीरमण्डलं भोक्ष्यन्ति शूद्राव्राताद्याः म्लेच्छाश्च ब्रह्मवर्चसः तुल्यकाला इमे राजन् म्लेच्छप्रायाश्च भूभृतः एते अधर्मानृतपराः फल्गुदास्तीव्रमन्यवः स्त्रीबालगोद्विजघ्नाश्च परदारधनादृताः उदितास्तमितप्रायाः अल्पसत्त्वाल्पकायुषः असंस्कृताः क्रियाहीनाः रजसा तमसा वृताः प्रजाः ते भक्षयिष्यन्ति म्लेच्छाराजन्यरूपिणः तन्नाथास्ते जनपदाः तच्छीलाचारवादिनः अन्योन्यतो राजभिश्च क्षयं यास्यन्ति पीडिताः। इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां द्वादशस्कन्धे प्रथमोऽध्यायः। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम, श्रीभागवत शरणं मम, श्रीसद्गुरु शरणं मम, श्रीसूत शरणं मम, श्रीशुकदेव शरणं मम, श्रीव्यास शरणं मम, श्रीनारद शरणं मम, श्रीकुमार शरणं मम, श्रीब्रह्मा शरणं मम, श्रीविष्णु शरणं मम, श्रीपरब्रह्म शरणं मम, श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम, शरणं मम, शरणं मम। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे, श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। ॐ मूकं करोति वाचालं भङ्गं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। स्वर्गे सत्ये च कैलासे वैकुण्ठे नास्ति अयं रसः अतः पिबन्तु सद्भाग्याः मामुञ्चत कर्हिचित्। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ श्रीकृष्णपरब्रह्मणे नमः। श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराणम् एकादशस्कन्धः मुक्तिर्हित्वा अन्यथा रूपं स्वरूपेण व्यवस्थितिः। अथ अष्टाविंशोऽध्यायः। श्रीभगवानुवाच क्लोज eyes, salute Parabrahma Tattva to Sri Mahavishnu, Sri Brahmadeva, Sri Sanakadi Muni, Sri Narada Muni, Sri Vyasa Muni, Sri Shuka Muni, and also Sri Suta Muni, Vaishampayana Muni. Also to all the Shrota Ganam, starting from again Brahmadeva up to Sri Parikshit Raja. Right from Matsyadi Avataras, all Avatara, just remember, salute the Lord in all those forms. In every of those forms, Bhagavan came to do the Dushta Shikshana, Shishta Rakshana, Dharma Samrakshana, and then giving the guidance for Adhyatmika Sadhana and Mukti for all the Jivas. So let the Lord, through those avatars and also in the form of all the Bhaktas, Rishis, Munis, may He shower His blessings on us. Thus we also become qualified for Paramatma Anubhuti. Having saluted all of them, like in my own life, when I find my body is going through the hell lot of roga, if at all, and if it clicks to me and I awaken to it, I just take my deha into my fold and look into that as to why these diseases are coming, why this type of weaknesses are there. And properly if I study and do the needful rectifications, then I can gather my body's health. So to outside, when I see my entire outer activities are in all types of confusion, mainly let us say the financial and all, my living with the other beings, etc. That life also if I take into my hands and properly go through all the details that are happening, then know the problems and rectify them, I can make my finances good, my position in the society better. So too in any organization, a sports organization, whatever. If you know, if you see that the country is losing or the team is losing again and again, then the entire management should sit and see where we are going wrong. Then wherever the mistakes are there, if they rectify it, then they can again shine out well and do well. See, that's what in India hockey recently doing little well. Kabaddi anyway, it's our nation's, though not national sport, but we do well in that. So each of the example why we have taken is take each of those aspects, see the position, and it is not going wrong. Then just study it and take it into the hands. Same thing was done in those years of 1780s and 1800s by the Indians. Then they thought, why have to be in the Dasya Shrunkala, in the chain of slavery, in the hands of these wretched, useless fellows, the Britishers? We have to get freedom. See, that thinking spread wide, then everybody got inspired. Then they came together from all parts of the nation, and such a colossal achievement of kicking them away, all those useless fellows, and we got our freedom. Like that, at every history of the period of the history in every nation, in our nation also, if the government is serious, with that seriousness, it makes that meeting of the cabinet and looks into the happenings of the entire nation as one unit, whether it is the economic position now, whether it is the cost of living that is happening, whether it is a natural calamities, etc., or any dissatisfaction in the praja, then if again the government is sincere, serious, when it takes all these things seriously and ponders over it, 100% outcome may not come, but at least there will be a satisfactory effort from the government side. If we have done our best, having conceived these ideas after deep deliberations with the like minded team for the nation's interest. So, the threat from Pakistan, threat from China, they are unnecessarily frightening us because of our low military army, arm and ammunition. Therefore, what is decided secretly, silently, the entire defense ministry with parliament and all, let us increase our war power. Now they have spent in last 7 8 years some crores and crores and crores. Now we are self-sufficient and strong. In the same way, the problem of black money. So let us do something for that. Open all the bank accounts and put the money in the bank so everything is known and nobody should keep more than 2 lakhs at home. And in one transaction, the latest news, more than 20,000 you should not do. Now, all these are the policies by which the black money of the people, which is not good for them only, brought into limelight, so that with that the nation also grows, money is also secured. People who are liars or they cheat, they are also put a check. See, every nation it does into. It's like France going through some bad times. The neighboring countries going through bad times. Every nation, everybody, if they are aware. So why we took these four examples is only for one reason. In the same way, if we look into our life from spiritual standpoint, and if we find really that we are only at the very bottom level, lowest step, and we want to evolve ourselves spiritually, listen carefully. If we really want to evolve ourselves spiritually, if that meaning is there, if that seriousness, if that sincerity is there, then listen to Guru, study Shastra, etc. All these are general, common, regular, everyday advices. But today's advice is what? If we want to set our spiritual life on the track perfectly, correctly, for its ultimate result of emancipation through the knowledge of self, experience of the self, this chapter 28 becomes the means to tell you and me the importance of the jnanam, mukti giving jnanam, given to us by Bhagavan Krishna in this 28th chapter. To tell the importance of this, we took so many examples. Like the country, the government feels the need of developing nation, they take into account, discuss and do the things required. So too we gave all examples. Here also, if you and I really want to know what is the meaning of Adhyatmik Sadhana, Adhyatmik Anubhuti, Mukti Anubhuti, then all few shastras we hear few years, then interest of listening comes to us. Vagueness little remains, little goes away. But with the study of this 28th chapter of 11th Sarga, to a great extent, we can sort out in our understanding all the aspects of Vedanta spirituality in the intellectual understanding. Then, when we avoid in them through our sadhana, etc., that understanding becomes experience. Then the mukti never remains only a word in the mouth or an imagination. It really is an experience. The experience like that of Rishi Trishanku. Itu Trishankoho Veda Anu Vachanam. Veda means experience. Anu means followed by. Vachanam means speech. These are the words spoken by Trishanku followed by his direct experience of Brahma Tattva. Aham Rukshasya Reriva Yerte Prushtham Gireriva Urdhava Vetro Vajiniva Samrutamasmi Dravinagam Savarchasam Sumedha Amrutokshidah Iti Trishankor Vedanuvachanam. Like a person who has seen the Tirupati Balaji or Badrinath or Mani Maheshwar comes back and claims I have seen it so beautifully. It is so divine. The other person also says, did you see that? Yeah, I also saw it last year. How beautiful it was. You understand? In the same way, like Trishanku said, we also can say, yes, I also experienced Atma Tattva. We can say through sadhana. Before that, clear understanding. This chapter gives that clear understanding. And right now, we seek the mukti, but we are in vagueness of understanding as well as practice. So, like I told you, every aspect the government has to take into consideration and then scrutinize thoroughly and then take the due actions at every level. Then, whatever the country's bad position in whatever the start point or the department, that can be rectified. In the same way, every shloka of this 28th chapter, if we can take seriously, sincerely, with every pada vakya in that, and really mean business in trying to understand it by analyzing through the contemplative mind, the sara that comes out of these shlokas as our understanding and jnanam and even conviction, if we are true serious, is not only unparalleled but most important. If we miss it here, everywhere we miss. If we get here, everywhere we get. Iha chedavedit atasatyamasti na chediha vedit bhati vinashti. If you know here, you have known it. So many years we studied so many shastras from so many gurus. We tried our best to understand. We could not, little bit we could. But now, okay, all that. Let all that become a basis for us, a basement for us. With that all background, let us ponder on these each of the shloka very deeply and catch the most important adhyatmika samagra jnanam. Then do the sadhana and get the vijnanam, that is anumuti. This is what should be our goal. That is why the Brahma Tattva, Atma Tattva, Paratattva, Nirupanam, along with the establishment of Anyasanda of them, and that is me. And I am that, and not what I am thinking so far. All these are the ones which Bhagavan Krishna, in those times, in the language familiar to them at that time, called as Samskrita, to the Uddhava who has already come to one level, he spoke. And you and I have to study that in Sanskrit, know the meaning of it in our own heart, in our own language, then make it into English and try to explain, try to understand. These are the struggles we are going through. Now we take a few more slokas today after revising what we saw yesterday. Every sloka is worth so many millions of time repeating that sloka is enough to be repeated till the substantial clear understanding of it comes. इतना महान है वो एक एक श्लोक. Straight away we start from after Uddhava's Prashna, the 12th shloka, 13th, 14th, which we already spent 10, 12 days in the trying to study them. We just browse through the Vihanga Vikshanam of these shlokas because the meaning is already discussed so many times in so many ways with so many examples, etc. But what is the crux of it? यावत् देह इंद्रिय प्राणैः आत्मनः सन्निकर्षणं संसारः फलवान् तावत् अपार्थः अपि अविवेकिनः. संसारः फलवान् तावत् अपार्थः अपि अविवेकिनः. संसारः अपार्थः अपि फलवान्. Apartha Phalavan means what? Two things. Though it is not there really, still it appears. Thereafter, though there is no iota of even misery also required or possible, yet it gives the apartha of the misery. Like the dream is not at all there, the dream world yet appears. Then all the dreams, sukha dukkha were never real, yet are experienced. So snake is not there, yet is seen. Not only the snake is not there, snake is seen, but all the dukkha and fear, which should be otherwise not there when you see rope as rope, all of them are experienced. So too, the whole world, inner and outer, other than Paramatma, though it is apartaha, means non-existing, still appears to be existing, Phalavan. Though it is apartaha, though has no capacity of binding us by giving sukha and dukkha, yet Phalavan gives the experience of sukha dukkha as if so solid and real. And in this, what we have to catch, we may miss this thought later on, though it is very deeply developed. Here only we share is what ki the experiencer abhivatare dhyan se sunna. The experiencing instruments, the experiencer, the world, experience, all of them are the chore. Together they are all the thieves. Means all of them are unreal. Like in the dream, is the only dream world unreal? When we wake up, no, the experiences of the dream also are unreal. Like the dream world called as road, unreal. Then the accident which happened in the dream, an experience it is, that also unreal. Then the car in which I was driving and my hands and legs with which I was driving, all of them also unreal. And me, the dreamer himself, who with his instruments drove the car on the road, got the accident and injury, the dreamer also unreal. So sare milkar. That is why anything other than Parama Atma is mithya. Only Paramatma is real. This is the sara of the Vedanta. Then I experienced it now, the dream, then it is only the projection on the waking mind. Therefore, it should not be given reality. So, the waking mind forgotten, a dream world projected dream world is given reality, and involved really in that is called as dream samsara. Woken up to the waking mind, from that standpoint, found that the entire dream world was unreal, imaginary projection, is the freedom from the dream samsara. Clear? So, the crux of this first shloka is what? Sannikarshanam. Self in proximity with upadhis is the suffering samsari jiva. Suffering samsari jiva kept himself away from the upadhis and stayed with his own real essential near nature is mukta atma. So mukta atma with the upadhi is baddha jiva. Baddha jiva freed from upadhi is mukta atma. Upadhis are antakaranams, jnanendriyas, karmendriyas, prana, deha. Through them, every of the outer upadhis. The upadhis can be my educational positions, my financial statuses, my job, etc., my friends, my relatives, family members, all that which you call as mine, me, aham, all of it is upadhi only. Like in the dream also. You had your own graduation certificate, you have your own riches, financial. Dream also you had all your friends, relatives, everyone. All of them also in the dream world upadhis. And you are invited for functions, you are given so much value, respect by your friends. Maybe because of your great achievement, you are even awarded, rewarded, a big title also is given. You may get a Bharat Ratna in dream. Even they also, when we wake up, are found to be mithya. So anything other than the pure self anubhuti is only the projection. And through those projected upadhis, any identity I have, that is the limited jiva, bound to suffer. Because through the upadhi you seek something, upadhi themselves are unreal, therefore how can they give? They appear to be giving, but they don't give. Really, they don't give. Clear? This is the crux. Sannikarshanam. Samyak nikarshana means बहुत पास में रहना, very close. And how I, the pure self, come very close to my Panchakosha Adi Upadhi through the feelings of aham, feelings of mama, feeling of mahyam. And let us say it right now only. We have not said it. By now we should have told it 10 times that this me pure self have come in proximity with the upadhis through the means of aham, mama, mahyam has happened only because aviveka. What is the viveka then? All these three. The relation of I, the pure self, with the upadhi as aham. The relation of I with the upadhis as mama. The relation of I with the upadhi as mahyam. All three, when the viveka dawns, is found to be not correct or true or real. And what makes us realize this, and what sort of viveka makes us realize is Atmanatma Viveka. Drukku Drushya Viveka. Jada Chetana Vineka. Viveka. Adhyaropa Adhisthana Viveko. All these Viveka given by the Shastras, different contexts or places, is only to make us understand that I as a self cannot have any proximity with any of the upadhi through the aham mama mahyam relation to become a jiva and suffer. Not required. Hmm? Think coolly. Very essential thought it is. That is why the last word was important one, abhivekinaha. Samsara phalavan apartopi. Samsara phalavan tavat apartopi. For whom? Avivekinaha. Now, when the Atma, be attentive, we became Aviveki, got identified the Upadhis, became a Jiva. To this question, there is no answer. Then that is not a relevant, valid, useful question. Then what is the question and answer? Do I now suffer as a Jiva with the Upadhi? Yeah. You use this Viveka given. Then you detach yourself from the Upadhi, get established in your essential self, and get liberated from the suffering of Jiva Bhava. This is how, after saying all these 8 to 11 slokas, or even 12, 13th onwards in our Drugdusha Vekam, Bhagavan Shankara took up the topic of answering why then the self has forgotten himself, and he gave the explanation of the Maya. And all of that is only to satisfy the questioning intellect of a questioner. A non-questioning intellect, but having faith in the words of Guru, who says, Beta Vivek karke, detach yourself from the Upadhi and attach to the self. There is no Jiva Bhava and Samsara. The one who has faith in these words of Guru follows it. He also gets mukti. But the one who want to answer, question, take an answer, get answer, why it has happened. Then the concept of Maya is brought. And Maya concept is only to help him to accept, understand only to some level. Finally, again, but why Bhagavan has used this Maya to create the world, To that question, there is no answer. Why? Because the only answer to that question is there is nothing other than Bhagavan. He himself is there. He never used his Maya, never the world is created. Clear? We are seeing the world, therefore we have to be. We are asking question. Therefore, we are given the answer. You have to stop our inquiry there, believing in that it is Paramatma's Ananta Maya Shakti, and as a Leela, he through the Maya created the world, and in that he has sent all of us, and in the form of all of us, he alone is there. ये सारा वहाँ जाकर श्रद्धा करना है, श्रद्धा से एक्सेप्ट करना है. It is Maya. More than that, what you can do, what was done by the earlier person also. First, keep all these away, discover yourself. Then let us discuss about all the Maya and all. When the self is discovered, it alone is there. There is no Maya, there is no Avarana, there is no Vikshepa, there is no Aropana, there is no Jiva, there is no Upada, there is no Samsara. Just like that. To stop the projecting on the screen, all the movie is gone. But as long as the projection was going on, from the beginning of the movie till end, how many scenes were seen, how many actions, how many dialogues, how many movements, how many types of them. The walking, running, chasing, fighting, jumping, dancing, all are projected. प्यार भी था, खून खरा भी था, गुस्सा भी था, इमोशन था, चीटिंग था, all on the TV projected. And the animate things were there, animals and all, animate being, inanimate things were there. क्या क्या नहीं था. The moment you switch off it, where are they all the screen? In the same way, when we discover the self, projection gets switched off, everything goes away. That is why the projection here and hiding the Paramatma there continues till the Viveka is not done. When the Viveka is done, Paramatma is discovered, projections end. Like in any office, if the officer is very sharp, shrewd in observing everybody's movement, every moment, through his CC cameras and all, nobody can cheat him. If he is inadvertent, not very careful about his observations, then everybody takes it for granted. Like the police wala, when they take it lightly, then the criminals will become very powerful. If the police wala are honest in their profession and they are getting the money from the people and government, so we don't allow any criminal to, like Uttar Pradesh में जैसा सबको दबा दिया, ऐसा हो जाता. If you take for granted, they'll continue to be like in other states. In the same way, विचारणा से आत्म ज्ञान को सैद्धांतिक रूप में जानना है. Through inquiry, come to know about the reality of the real self, Sachidananda, and reality of everything other than it. Give it a mithya value, vyavahara value, sadhana. Thus, by knowing in this way intellectually that this is real and unreal, devalue the unreal, mithya. Then value the real and start feeling, let me experience that real self as my own self. Then enter into the deep, highest level of the Savikalpa Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Because through those abhyasa, when we experience the self as it is, then only all the doubts go away. Then only there is no reverting back to samsara. Else, only through intellectual understanding, anytime that understanding can be kept aside, we can continue to identify the upadhi and suffer as jiva. That is why tomorrow we are going to study the Telugu people. Only when the self is known in its transcendental and immanent form, that the knot of the heart is cut asunder, then all the doubts get dispelled, then all the karma gets destroyed. Vidyate hridaya grante chidyante sarva samshayaha shiyante chasya karmani, when only tasmin paravare drushte. These talks which we are doing from last 3-4 days of Bhagavata, I also have to listen more than 3-4 times so that I get stabilized in the clear understanding of every aspect. So, to put it in precise form, essence of first sloka is what? I am always the pure self. For whatever the reason, I became close in proximity with the Upadhi. That coming close in proximity to Upadhi is called Sannikarshanam. In other language called Tadatmyam. That is through the means of aham mama mahyam, then I only became jiva. Like I went to a shop, a scooter खरीदने का उसमें showroom. So I came from the home, I came near to that scooter. I saw so many scooters, and then one scooter में दृष्टि लगा. Immediately the Sannikarshana happened. Like it starts with mahyam, may it become mine. Then really he pays money and says mama by getting registered on himself, on his name. Then he rides on the scooter as if he and scooter are one. That is why you'll have to drive. Scooter अलग है, मैं अलग हूँ, तो घर नहीं आओगे और कहीं जाओगे. Thereafter, till the scooter is not willingly given up, anything happens to scooter is happening to me. Just to be careful. When anything small little happened to scooter or big, did anything happen to me? Actually, no. But suffering was there. Why? The tada. In the same way, when anything happens to the upadhis, nothing happened to Atma because it's a Sakshi Chaitanya. But then who is the one who is suffering? That was the Uddhava's question. The one who has got tada. And that is why the fun of that, when as long as the scooter is having some relation with the as mama, anything happens to it is my dukkha. But when I dispose it, है ना? After disposal, the one who uses it, वो उसको बेच दिया, तोड़ दिया, एक्सीडेंट हुआ और उसको सेट इनटू दैट, है ना, पुराना हो गया करके उसको टुकड़े टुकड़े कर दिया. You don't worry because it's not yours now. There is no sambandha with that as aham mama ityadi. Sannikarshana is not there. Again and again, let us understand this aspect as a self we attend to. I don't have Sannikarshana with any gross, subtle, inner, outer upadhi. Point one. That is a mukta sthiti. Second is what? For whatever the reason, and only reason is aviveka, to any of the upadhis of any sort in the world, I get Pranikarshanam, proximity, with any of the means of aham mama iti ityadi, that itself becomes cause of samsara of sukha dukkha till it is left by me. And to anything I associate, that alone becomes cause of samsara. You know, there are some small countries of 1,000, 10,000, 20,000 population. Do you know, we don't know even their name, the name of the nation. Where is it all that? Something happens to that nation, out of sympathetic ground, we may feel a little bit. But otherwise, as a samsara, I don't suffer. Like the Brazil and South Korea have played football. And Brazil won over South Korea or whatever, whoever are playing. First of all, I'm not interested in football. I'm only interested in football. Some fellow played and कोई किसने हारा किसने जीता फिर स्टेडियम में लड़ाई हो गई. It is a passing news to us. No samsara. But if India loses to Pakistan in any of these sports, imagine. दुख होता है कि नहीं? And that Brazil South Korea sportsman, let us say Brazil won, South Korea lost. A South Korean is there in India, which is thousands of miles different. Still he suffers because though physically it is distant, but oh, mera desh. You see, you some people throughout life there are in that country only. He never came to India, but still when India is not because the identification. You just feel that. क्या हुआ इसमें? You can identify with one thing, you can identify the another thing, you can identify with the many things, you can identify with everything, and equally true is we can de-identify with everything also. Just like in sleep. Dissociated with everything, including this body, this prana, this mana, this indriya, this buddhi, this ankara, and yet bliss is experienced. By the way, that aviveka is a choice, after which identify with any stupid thing of the world and suffer. The viveka also is choice to de-identify with everything and be in your own happy status. And the viveka two level, one which intellectually gives conviction of I am the self illuminating everything and nothing to connect. Then experience of that through the dhyana samadhi. Only in the dhyana, when I transcend all these upadhis, truly, literally, deepest dhyana mein, and discover myself as proclaimed millions of times in our Upanishads as Sat Chitananda, that the destination is reached. Not by intellectual listening, intellectual talking. बौद्धिक ज्ञान से मुक्ति नहीं मिलता, मुख से बोलने से नहीं मिलता है. Like when you take the name of medicine, the disease is not cured. Is it not? न गच्छति विना पानम व्याधिर औषध शब्दतः विना अवरोक्षानुभवम ब्रह्म शब्दैर न मुच्यते. नाम लेने से दवाई का जैसा बीमारी नहीं जाता है, यू हैव टू कंज्यूम, सो टू बाय सेइंग दैट अहम ब्रह्म अस्मि, मुक्ति विल नॉट कम. You have to become Brahma by experiencing it. Experience Brahma only on the deep meditation. And tell me, who is the one without being in deep meditation has discovered the self? Only in the deepest meditation we transcend the gross layers. How do we do? Hundreds of techniques our rishis munis told throughout the shastras. That is a big subject. We will not enter it. उसमें जो जो हमारे शास्त्रों में मिलता है वो उसी को बात करेंगे. The Gautama Buddhas. Did he just realize accidentally without meditation? Did Swami Vivekanandas, Ramakrishnas, or Ramana Maharshis? How many years Puja Gurudev was in his meditation attempts? हर बिना ध्यान का अंतःकरण में जाकर, उसके गुहा में जाकर, हृदय में वहां छुपे हुए परमात्मा का कोई भी नहीं जान सकते. And without knowing the self, that way experientially, only by intellectual knowledge, you are not given mukti. Please remember. You will get mukti because you give that lecture like I give. Then some people give dakshina or appreciation. Jindagi chalta hai. Bhuktaye na to muktaye. वीणाय अरूप सौंदर्यम तंत्रिवादन सौष्ठयम प्रजारांजन मात्रम स्तु न साम्राज्याय कल्पते. So too, your oration, wonderful speaking, all that is gives mukti. वाग वैखरी शब्दचरी शास्त्र व्याख्यान कौशलम वैदुष्यम ईर्षाम तद्वद मुक्तये न तो मुक्तये. All these are from Viveka Chudamani. We have to be clear in these things right from beginning. And yet we people do Swadhyaya Pravachana. For what? Mainly for me to become clear. Because you are million times better placed than me. You people listen, that is enough for you to understand. For me, unless I speak, I don't understand. Again and again, go on speaking, Swadhyaya Pravachana. That is, Avismaranartham, Dharma Vruddhyarthancha. We say in the Bhashya morning class, we do for that. And it is Dharma Pravruddhi, Shastra Rakshanam, then Rishi Muni Parampara Kritagnyata, passing on to next generation as it was passed by the ancient earlier people up to us. ये इस काम के लिए स्वाध्याय प्रवचन होता है, बट सिर्फ स्वाध्याय से इंटेलेक्चुअली जानकर दूसरों को प्रवचन देने से खुद को मुक्ति नहीं मिलती. And to know that without meditation I cannot experience the self, and without experience of self, all my intellectual knowledge is of no use to liberate me, that I go on speaking. Why I speak? Only to know that speaking will not give Atma Jnana. You also. Nayam Atma Pravachanena Givena Pravachana Recivena Labhyaha. Only when we seek him in the core of our heart. Yameva Esha Vrunate Kutra Asmin Atme Sa Yeshontar Hridaya Akashaha Tasmin Nayam Purusho Manomayaha. See, relate all of them, we get the. Means what? If we want to, with a free lancing or license, deeply, detailedly, exhaustively, expansively understand the first shloka of what Bhagavan spoke as, all these will be to be understood Anushangika. Then clear. Keeping all these in mind, Bhagavan spoke this shloka. All these were not required for the Uddhavaji because you are remembering all the 27 chapters what were spoken. But you and I keep forgetting, or might have not heard properly, or never did sufficient contemplation to have the clarity. Therefore, we once in a while remind or rewind or refresh ourselves. So it's a refresher course. All these thoughts. So the summary is, when you by choice million lives are in close proximity with Upadi, millions of lives you continue as the suffering jiva, having that samsara. You will have. And in any of the life we begin, in fewer lives of the time, we really accomplish this feat of detaching from the upadhi, then you are mukta. ये जैसे मैंने कहा ना, ये टॉपिक बोलने के साथ 10 दिन पहले, सच आर द इम्पोर्टेंट सेंटेंसेस शुड बी रिटन ऑन द वॉल एंड सीन एवरी डे इन योर ओन लैंग्वेज। हिंदी में लिखो, मैं उपाधियों के द्वारा जीव संसारी, मैं संसारी जीव उपाधियों से दूर होकर मुक्त आत्मा। अब डेली देखते जाना कॉन्शियस माइंड से। बिटवीन टू सिप्स ऑफ कॉफी गिव द 10 seconds and contemplate. That itself becomes a beautiful, deeper thought inside every day. Like every day we keep a goal of having a coffee, you can also keep a goal of coffee, that between the two sips of coffee or between the making of coffee and drinking of coffee, I will do 10 minutes of contemplation on this sloka. When you are told give up coffee and do meditation, you can't do. So along with the coffee, have this. Later on, you will also know, you will only know, no need of wasting time for coffee, the 10 minutes. Those 10-20 minutes of making it, drinking, washing the utensil is nonsense. Enough, I had so many drums of the coffee so far. None of them gave mukti. From now onward, no waste of time for coffee or tea. Those 20 minutes I engage in deep contemplation. It gives me little more depth. That conviction will come, जिसको आना है. By the way, that's only for information sake, not very important. Now the continuation of this sloka. What is the meaning of viveka or avineka? What is the meaning of that sannikarshanam, followed by which we are going through the samsara. Already samsara, 20 times we told already. Janma, Marana, in between every karma I do as a karta to get some karma phala, to have the bhoga of that. All that is samsara. Because in the Atma Anubhuti, it being infinite Ananda, selfless Ananda, inner self Ananda, eternal Ananda, effortless Ananda, in that all this is not required. But I am involving in that. Therefore, that is what is samsara. Think about it more and more. What is samsara and all. Now, continuation of that. What is happening exactly? What do you meaning of vivek and avivek? What is the redemption? He is saying it. What a beautiful shloka. We have dealt on that sufficiently. Now again उसका भी birds eye view से देखेंगे. पहले श्लोक पढ़ो. अर्थे ह्यविद्यमाने भी संश्रुतिर्न निवर्तते ध्यायतो विषयानस्य स्वप्ने अनर्थागमो यथा. That is what. देखो. Dhyayato Vishaya. Like in the earlier sloka, Sannikarshana was the main word. Equally important was the Aviveka, the word. Here also the important word was Vishayan Dhyayataha. Enough. Everything was told last 2-3 days. I need not elaborately explain. What is that? If you do the dhyanam of the Vishayas, even if they are not there, they get created. Opposite of it is what? If you stop doing the dhyanam of the Vishaya, even if it is in front of you, it is not seen. Is it not? I gave you the example. Is there a coffee ready made in your house? No. But after 10-20 minutes, the coffee hot was there. You had it. What? How come it came? Where was the first step for the coffee to come hot into your mouth? Was it not the dhyanam? Was it not the dhyanam of the coffee that it manifested the coffee? Because the power of dhyanam is such that all the things required to make coffee were made available. The power of it. But the other fellow at home, he doesn't want coffee. He says, मेरे एसिडिटी होती नहीं चाहिए. उसको कप सामने रखो, लेकिन उसका दृष्टि होता ही नहीं उसका. It is as good as it is not there for him, though it is there in front of, like people in your own house. Every day, 4 hours, you are putting on computer or the cell phone and listening to these talks. But to the other people up at home, is as good as there's no Swami or no talking going on. Because there's no dhyanam for them about this. At the same time, they are watching some TV, cricket, India, Afghanistan. Your dhyanam is here, not there. Therefore, for you, that is not there. तो उनको वो टीवी है, आपको ये लेक्चर है. बिकॉज उन्होंने उसका ध्यान किया, आपने इसका ध्यान किया. No, you can reverse it, you can stop it. You can go with the dhyanam into TV, he can come into the dhyanam to the class. Dhyana is not meditation. Here, dhyana is going on doing sankalpa, brooding about it. Vishaya dhyana. And Vishaya dhyanam, we have explained very exhaustively again. Don't pull me into those details. Refer to the lecture 3-4 days back. One idea of Vishaya dhyana is thinking about Shabda Sparsha Rupra Rasa, the Vishayas in the mana. Second Vishaya dhyana means imagining as if there is a Vishaya other than me, the Vishayi. At the highest contemplative level, I alone am the pure self. Me alone is becoming Vishayi here and Vishaya there. And I as a Vishayi, I am doing the Dhyanam of the Vishaya. And in the Vishaya Samsara, called as experiencer, experience Samsara, I only am caught up. That's what we analyzed and told in that day. Where is that Vishaya which you have entertained? In your own consciousness. Because without consciousness, it is not there. Where is a contact that with that Vishaya happened also in your own consciousness. Where is the experience happened of that Vishaya also in your own consciousness. And the experiencer, where is he? He also is in my own consciousness. This is what in Mandukya Upanishad we study. Then means what? Reverse करके देखो उसको. I alone, a pure conscious self, is becoming Vishayi, then the instruments, then the Vishaya, then the contact, then the consequent experience. Like I alone, the waker mind, is becoming the dreamer world, dreamer instruments, dream instruments, dream contact, and dream experience. सारे पांच में जागृत व्यक्ति के ऊपर ही आरोपित है. How do you say? Because there is a position when they are all not there. What is that? Waking. Then this waker was there before also, after also. Then where must be all of them coming from? From the waking mind only. This is what will be the next 4-5 slokas analysis we are going to see. How do we say everything is self alone and self from the self only everything came? All this intellectually how to get convinced. After which we deeply meditate to discover this self. इंटेलेक्चुअल कन्विक्शन के बिना ध्यान की इच्छा नहीं होगा, ध्यान का प्रयत्न नहीं होगा, ध्यान का लगातार करना नहीं होगा. ध्यान में ध्येय आत्मा का अनुभव, उसके बाद मुक्ति. They also will not come. The whole struggle of guru and shishya for lives together in studying Shastra is only to get convinced. Once you are convinced, you are sent to Yamaraj also, like Nachiketa. Having gone to him, you don't ask for the life. You ask for the Amrita Jnanam only of the Vedanta. क्योंकि conviction हो गया है नचिकेत को. He is very shrewd, very sublime. He understood. ये जितना भी मेरा उम्र बढ़ेगा, मैं मेरे पापा की तरह यज्ञ ही करूंगा स्वर्ग प्राप्ति के लिए. And then with that swartha, I will do, and he is attached to me. And for this sake, he will do this gotala of saving good cows and giving the bad cows. अब इतना उम्र में बढ़कर इतना यज्ञ उपासना करके, if my mind is same, what is the use of that? Is there anything beyond all? Let me discover that. That's what he went. Like you see the 20 samples of the country. Anybody. Sports achieved such a greatness. Still he is corrupt. Then what is the use of becoming such a big sports person? Is it not? Therefore, non-corruption is greater than being a sports. Okay, so to another, a minister बन गया, एक करोड़पति बन गया, एक बड़ा पोस्ट वाला. Take each one of the exam. Everyone reached there and still inside they are suffering. Outside they are doing wrong. Therefore means what? The risk danger is not avoided when we reach those outer things. Then what is that having reached which? There is nothing to be achieved, therefore nothing wrong to be done, therefore nothing to be bound. It is only Atmajnana. That's what in Nachiketa's mind. You know, this is what the common thing in Nachiketa Yamadharmaraj Samvada and Yajnavalkya Maitreyi Samvada. Very sublime thing. What is that? If Yamadharmaraj is ready to give all these things to me, he must be having something greater than this. Then only he is giving that. Else why will he give the best thing? Same the Maitreyi asked. When he said, Yajnavalkya, hey Maitreyi, to you and Gargi, I am giving all the property and I am going. Gargi was happy. Thank you. Not for his going, but Apaitra said, if you are giving me all this wealth and going, then you are going for something greater than this wealth, na? Then only you will go. Otherwise, you are not such a otherwise person that you give up the higher thing and take the lower one. Therefore, I also want that only. He understood, yeah, she is very intelligent, she deserves it. Then Atma Vare Drashtavyo, Sotavyo, Mantavyo, Niti Tyajtavya, Atmana Dushtena, Shrutena, Mantya, Anubhavena Cha, Sarvam Viditam Syatu. He gives those Upanishad mantras in Vradharanya. No, connect करो इन सारे थोड़ा ज्ञान सूक्ष्म होएगा. सो अर्थे ही अविद्यमानेपि वस्तु है ही नहीं है संस्कृतिर्न निवर्तते still the dukkha is not going away. Then how all the drama dhyayato vishayanasya, only by the vishaya dhyanam. It's a big subject. It sorts out every problem if you can take this everywhere. Like you have the cash, lot of thing with all ATM. Anywhere all the cash related problems all go away, no? So too the samsara related problems go away when this knowledge of this shloka carried with us everywhere. An example, स्वप्ने अनर्थ आगमः. स्वप्न में सारे अनर्थ कहाँ से आए? एक्चुअली अनर्थों का कारण वाला सपना भी रियली नहीं है, बट देन इट इज प्रोजेक्टेड. Is it not? In the same way, in the waking world, everywhere, it's only the Vishaya Dhyanam that is creating the Vishaya Jagat and making us bound to it and giving us suffering or dukkha called anartha. Then, so see, that is why these shlokas are such one. They have to be widely, exhaustively have to be discussed, taking the reference of what Bhagavan or Guru said in different texts. We took few of them, like Gita. Instead of Vishaya Dhyana, you do the Bhagavad Dhyana. Instead of Vishaya Dhyana, you do the Atma Dhyana. If you don't do Atma Dhyana or Bhagavad Dhyana and only Vishaya Dhyana, then toward them the Sangha comes, then the Kama happens. Kama se Krodha hota hai, then you lose your knowledge, and you end up in doing such a criminal action that you get destroyed. है ना? ध्यायतो विषयान पुंसः संगः तेषु उपजायते. With the continuous thinking of the things or beings, your attachment grows to them. Otherwise, they were not there in your life earlier. Nobody is with me when I am born. Neither my elder brother, younger brother. कोई था ही नहीं, मैं अकेला आया. But through the dhyanam, sangam happened. Sangahat sanjayate kamaha. Then through the attachment, slowly the expectation, desires of some type or the other grow. And one of the kamana of the sangha is that toward which you have a sangha, you want that to be in proximity with you. And in whatever the way it is usable, you want to use it. If it is consumable, it is this way, that way usable. All that is called kama. Then the kama is thwarted, krodha. And please remember, every kamana will be thwarted, if not today, tomorrow. Because the kama itself is illogical. And the thing or being from whom you are expecting something to fulfill, that is by accident only your desire gets fulfilled. Not every time. Accident means coincidence. That is why the one who gave me happiness yesterday will not give me today. And I expect कल दिया आज क्यों नहीं दिया? अरे कल का coincidence था, आज जो नहीं दिया यही fact है. But this to I digest this point, it takes millions of lives. Very tough it is. Not knowing this, we go on expecting from the people and it never fulfills. Expectation thwarted or unfulfilled slowly gets the color of anger. Kamat krodha vijayate. Therefore, wherever there is a krodha, understand there is a kamana. Wherever there is a kamana today, understand tomorrow there will be krodha towards that one. For some time it may appear to give the sukha. Like in the case of Pururava and Urvashi. She gave Anandam to him for some time. The moment she wanted to go away, became Krodhit, Jaya Ghore Tishte, Tishta, all that. She will go, that's it. Nobody will be with us, as if we are with everybody. We also left many things and beings. And they will suffer if they also have the attachment to us. If they are wise people, hai to acha ho gaya, chhoot gaya, then they are not suffering. So also, if we say that acha ho gaya, sab chhoot gaya, you are wise and you are not disturbed. But if you have the attachment, then you suffer. That is called as kamat krodaha. Krodat sammohaha. When the anger comes, you forget the past and all that, what good experience you had, interaction you had. मैं तो यही याद करता हूँ. Anybody is leaving me going, I remember all the past, what food they gave me, what all that. I thank them in my heart. Good. My heart is freed. And the wisdom already is there. कि इट्स ओनली लाइक पानी पीने की जगह पे 2-4 दिन 2-4 मिनट मिले हैं, उसके बाद अपना रास्ता नापो. Everybody is their own way going and they have to meet other people in the other water shelter or place. चलता ही है जिंदगी. Nobody is anybody. Self alone is with me all the time. That I have to recognize. Everyone. So with that wisdom, with that idea, we come out. Otherwise what? Sangat sanjayate kamaha, kamat krodaha, krodat sammohaha, sammohat smriti vibhramaha, smriti vibhramshat buddhinashaha, buddhinashat pranashyati. And all that started from where? Dhyayeto vishyan. See, that Vishaya Dhyana saying, the great Bharata, sat for knowing the self, has got a birth of deer only in the next life. Same deer, again by rethinking, next life when he got the human birth, he only realized the self without doing any Vishaya Dhyanam. Now, in this, hundreds of questions can be asked and everyone can be answered. I can't do all those detailing exercise. This is not the platform or the time and all. One or two things is what? Do you mean to say, Swami, you should not perceive the things? Can we live the life without perceiving? होता है कि नहीं? So, this is a good genuine question. So, point is what? Perceive करो, ध्यान मत करो. This is one answer. Perception से पहले ही जानो कि all these things are either mithya illusory or Bhagavan Sarupa only. These are the only two ways by which you are perceiving the things will not create any of the extra value to that. Like when you go to theater, पहले ही सोच के जाओ कि सारा मूवी अनरियल है. You will enjoy movie but you won't get caught up because you know it is not real. Either say everything is Bhagavad Rupa or say everything is illusory, yet it is perceivable. I am perceiving. Then with that background, when you go, you see the things, but you don't create the impression or any attachment, then you are free. पहले ही prepare होके जाना. Very wise it is. Wisdom it is. And the one always in this wisdom that everything is unreal, he perceives everything, but nothing he takes as real. Because he knows everything is unreal. He is called as yatra yatra manoyati tatra tatra samadaya. Is it not? Perception followed by the projection of any sort through labeling. That was the first sloka. Na prasamshet na garhayat. And only one thing is what? Everything is Bhagavan in this group. बस हो गया. You are liberated. The ugly fellow, the beautiful fellow, the small or young or tall, कोई भी हो भगवान ही इसी रूप में. So through everything, when we can remember Bhagwan, you are liberated. And we remember Bhagwan for giving us these things of the world, you are pakka murkha and get bound. So for sadhana and vyavahara, we have to perceive the world. We have to interact with that. But keep the limit of it only to that. Like I gave you example yesterday, you and I are there for transacting, interacting, to know the Shastra. That is the only thing. And that's why you never talk to me, I never talk. Therefore, I am not a samsara to you are not to me. There is no problem. You तो forget ही बस स्वामी जिंदा भी है ये भी नहीं पता आपको. कल क्लास में फिर चेहरा देखने तक. Good, remain like that only. With everything and everybody. And among you, if I have to one or two people more expectation, and that is the cause of the entire misery. Everyday practical experience to us in the world, is it not? So perceive, you can't avoid. Like I look at whoever come every day, and I know these came, then I know who are those, what is their level of listening and all. So I tune my lecture that day for them. Okay? There is no samsara. In the same way. Like today afternoon, nobody were there in Telugu class. Take I spoke on YouTube. क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Live life in this way. Perceive, you can't avoid. But beyond that, nothing real. Everything is Paramatma. Other thing is what? Other than going into the world for duty, when you are with our own self, do only one thing, either Bhagavad Vicharana or Bhagavad Dhyana. In this way, if the child is not engaged in positive activity, how he destroys, disturbs everybody. In the same way, the child called mind, if it is not trained and made habit to engage in Bhagavan's dhyana, saguna and nirguna, that mind is given freedom, it does Vishya dhyanam and destroys us. These are the very important things to be as early as possible understood and accepted if we really want to grow spiritually. These are the basic things. Without this, you do japa, you do upasana, you do every outer thing. वो periphery level में उतना ही help करेगा. It won't sort out the inner problems. And problems are nowhere in the world. World is Bhagavan's expression. The entire problem is inside. From the inside, we throw the problem outside and everybody suffers. Dhyayato Vishayanasya. So this can be put in so many ways, same thought. One of the ways what? Everything is Bhagavan only and I am there to serve. Everything is my own self only. The thing is like my world is like a mirror. It is reflecting my own self. Or at the sadhaka level, I am a sadhaka. I have to do my dharma as a part of dharma. These are the things beings around me. These are the things to be done by me. In these aspects, when I am fully convinced, which itself takes lot of study of Shastra, Guru's grace, contemplation. With these three kavacha protection, any one of them or all of them, when we move in the world, we are safe. क्या है मेरे सामने? भगवान है. मैं कौन हूँ? भक्त. मुझे क्या करना है? उपासना. क्या है मेरे सामने? आईना. क्या दिख रहा है उसमें? मैं खुद ही. या क्या मेरे सामने है? भगवत कृपा से मेरे साधना का स्थल. क्या साधना करनी है? धर्म. किस लिए? अंतःकरण शुद्धि के लिए. Therefore, what is dharma? You have to do this. Like my dharma is all the three I can do. This is the Lord has given me with this dharma for my internal purity, for doing this dharma of giving this asang to you. Or the people seated are the mirror reflecting my own self. Or the best is what? Bhagavan is in your rupa. And it is nothing to be felt bad to see Bhagavan in you. Because every criminal also Bhagavan in that form. Bhagavan is not criminal. Even the stones when we worship of God as God, why not you all? This readiness is the maturity to accept everybody as Bhagavan because it's a fact and that is what you have to realize and not realizing that alone the cause of all samsara. That is the meaning in meditation, yatra yatra manoyati, tatra tatra samadhi, in the jnana marga, in the bhakti marga, Shri Rama mein sab jagat jani. नहीं जाना तो कम से कम मानो, मानने से धीरे धीरे जानकारी हो जाएगा. श्री राम में सब जग जाने, उसके ज्यादा और क्या है जानने को? These very beautiful things continuously we have to give value till they become deep knowledges, convictions. Then live those knowledges and convictions. हो गया. I am convinced about the world's reality, therefore I am in the world. But the world is not real, therefore I am getting sufferings. Now get convinced about these knowledges, live this knowledge till it becomes habit, and get in that only. Why go to the other track? Like you and I are habituated to our classes. Through the classes, our knowledge is becoming strong. So we are become convinced. Then why to go anywhere else? Not doing this great job. है कि नहीं? क्यों जाएंगे छोड़कर और कहीं? जाएंगे तो इससे बढ़िया क्लास सुनने को ही जाएंगे. Is it not? Nothing lower than this. These are the ways by which we protect ourselves from getting identified the upadhis or doing the dhyana of the jagat which is not really there and get lost in samsara dukkha. So, literal meaning is what? Artehi avidyamanevi samsutir nanivartate dhyayato vishayanasya. Example, swapne anartha agamaha. How many times we have to listen these things to allow the matter to enter into us, to contemplate or get convinced about it. then the practice of it, then the mukti. और ये सब इंडिपेंडेंटली हम अपने आप के साथ है घर में वगैरह, वी विल नेवर डू इट, वी आर नॉट रिमाइंडेड. बट व्हेन यू आर इन टच विद द गुरु, व्हेन यू आर ऑलवेज लिसनिंग, व्हेन यू आर इन द गुरुकुल इटसेल्फ, कि मैं आत्मा अनुभव को आने तक गुरुकुल छोड़कर नहीं जाऊंगा, दैट फेलो इन वन लाइफ ओनली गेट्स, बिकॉज इज नो अदर गोल एजेंडा, यही है. Guru also knows, oh, he's sincere, he's with me, he's not going into samsara, he wants the mukti, so let me prepare him. He gives it. Then he appoints him as the successor. Now you guide others. Those who come and stay and realize, those who come, learn and go, realize slowly. But others, if you go into the world, it is delayed. Delayed or it will forgotten also, depending on how much we involve in the worldliness. Like 4 days, if you bunk the class and involve in the worldly thing, you forget me, the text, the theme, the subject, everything. Not only you, it is me also. Everyone. That is why every day relentlessly I am talking these 4 things. Not to you, but to you through me. That don't leave the classes, be regular and sincere. Don't leave your guru, don't leave your upasana, don't leave your daivam, don't leave your... Why am I telling all that? For what reason? Because these are the ones when I leave, I get lost. Because that's how I was lost. Now slowly I am coming out of that by these things. Then how can I live? देखो, भिखारी था, भूखा था, पैसे नहीं थे, नौकरी मिल गई. व्हाट इज टू टोल्ड टू विद दैट फेलो फर्स्ट? अरे यार, मुश्किल से नौकरी मिला, छोड़ो मत, छोड़ो मत. बोलते हैं कि नहीं? हम छोड़ दिया तो फिर से बुखार भिखारी होगा. Don't we say that don't leave this job? Yeah, boss may be difficult and all, but what to do? Till you get better job, don't leave this. Common advice it is. So too, when we got this thing which redeeming us, how can we live? And why the Guru has to say it 100 times? Because the chore in everybody's mind as mind brings all the heavy, strong logics, examples and all. And with him, the non-devotion to the Guru, all of them put together takes away this fellow. Like the 5-6 gundas coming and kidnapping. Is it not? In the same way, the sadhaka in us is kidnapped by these negative traits. So therefore, it is reminded again and again. And why the Guru or anybody speaks? For his own sake, and that is how it is. And the one out of audiences, some of them they get bored of listening this, they don't even come, they stop. That is their prarabdha. But some of them think, अरे इतने बोल रहे हैं स्वामी जी, मतलब मेरे भलाई के लिए. And there's no Swami speaks, only the Guru Parampara speaks through them. Our own well-wisher speaks through them. Then I myself am not there while I am speaking to you. How can I am there for you? By the way. So, dhyayato vishayanasya sapne anarthagamo yatha. Then we have given the example. Very simple it is. Till you are not awakened from the dream, there is anartha. Bahu anartha. One after the other. The moment you wake up, all the anarthas go away. So too, when we awaken to our real self, all the anartha of being a jiva goes away. When we don't wake up to the self, continuously we go through. And thank God from the dream we can wake up. नहीं तो ड्रीम वर्ल्ड के परसिक्यूशन से सफर होते ही रहते हैं. So to thank God we can wake up from this long dream of जागृत samsara to the self. नहीं तो किसी भी जीव को मुक्ति होता ही नहीं. Always we have to be bound in all limitations. Thank God it is possible. However, let us encash that possibility. Okay, now comes, we have seen this, Shoka Harsha Bhaya Krodha Lobha Moha Spruhadayah Ahankarasya Drushyante Janma Mrityuscha Na Atmanaha. Again, this is also a practical thing. First of all, to be convinced about and done practically. All emotions of the mind, of good or bad, belong to him who is identified with the mind called as Jiva. And they don't belong to me, the real self. By saying so, what beautiful thing that is happening? It is to the Ahankari and not to me. When you say, then the Ahankari को हम वैल्यू देने से उपाधियों के द्वारा अहंकारी के रूप में ही हम रहते हैं. When I am saying not to me, then slowly, first the Shoka Harshadi go away. Then the owner of them, identifier of them, the Jiva Bhava also goes away. It's a very powerful practice. I'll tell in 1 minute because time is not there. Shoka Harsha Bhayadi are there in the mana. Then the Ahankari is there. Then the Atma is there. Three ways to get lost. So too, three ways to get out. The first way to get lost is forget yourself. Second way to get lost is think that you are Ahankari. Third way to get lost is give value to Shokarshad. This is what we do generally. Now reverse bhi wahi hai. There are three ways to get mukti. One is devalue all the Shokarshadi. Then there is no food for Ahankara. When there is no food, he dies. When he dies, what comes out is the self. This is one way. Second is what? Devalue the Ahankara. When the Aham is devalued through the devotion, how can a Nirahankari can become Shokaharsha Yukta? Is it not? Those emotions go away, then the Nirahankari knows that he is Atma. Second way of realization. Third is what? Contemplate you are the self. When you know you are the self, then you are not a Jiva. When you are not a Jiva, how can there be Shokaharsha? See, three problems, three ways of one problem, three ways of solution. This is the essence of this sloka. We will see more of it tomorrow. Then Dehendra Pranavimana, this sloka sola talks about the Jiva. Who is Jiva? Defined Pakka. 17th sloka talks about this Jiva who is defined is not at all there. Amulametad Bahuruparopitam. Then Jnana Viveka, these are the ways by which you recognize yourself, in which recognizing, in whose the Jiva Bhava with Upadi and with the Samsara, all of them are God. And that's why in the beginning today's class is 5 examples I gave you and told you. Like the government, when it's found that the country is not going well, when they take it seriously and contemplate and find the problems and solution, everything sets. Like that I gave 5. Same way, when we totally dedicate ourselves exclusively for the spiritual emancipation through the spiritual practices by going to Guru and studying Shastra, then we get everything. Like a physicist totally dedicates to the physical sciences, then you will discover the new discoveries. So too a chemist. Everybody totally dedicating and discovering something or the other. है ना? हर एक बंदे को हर एक चीज नहीं होता, लेकिन हर एक बंदा कुछ ना कुछ पा सकता है. बट कुछ भी पावे, बट दैट स्टिल अगेन द पार्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, therefore it is a bondage. He will serve the entire world through electricity discovery, Mr. Whoever has discovered, but himself is bound only. Is it not? He continued to live as a Jiva and died. But all is help to the electricity through electricity of the world. People enjoy it. They may say thank you to the fellow. That may add to his punya. In one life he may be born in India and listen Upanishads from us and know the truth. So why then pursue all those? Everybody cannot do everything. Everybody should do something. And that thing, if it is not a permanent, then what is the use of that thing? So this is how through thinking come to this conclusion. एक दिन से नहीं होता हो, 1000 बार करना है. The conclusion what? I will pursue spiritual goal through spiritual path. And then पूरा जी जान लगा के उसमें. See in this world, कोई माउंटेनियरिंग में जी जान लगा रहा है, कोई स्विमिंग में जी जान लगा रहा है, कोई आर्मी में जी जान लगा रहा है, कोई स्पोर्ट्स में जी जान, कोई आर्ट्स में, कोई म्यूजिक में. They are all doing excelling. Let us put ji jaan in our spirituality. Because it's mukti giving. And this is not written here. We are just discussing that in this way we have to start giving more value to this path, this goal, this means, and all these things which are required in this path. The Shastras, the Swadhyayam, the Shravanam, the Mananam, Chintanam, all of them. And keep on doing, फिर उसमें भी mastery या परिपक्वता आता रहेगा. That way let us help. Like as I told you, myself also, because daily talking 6 classes, I can see a slight change in the understanding. You also can see in yourself little change because relentlessly you are listening. Therefore, you can understand कि फर्क हो रहा है. फर्क पड़ता है, जरूर पड़ता है. करते जाओ और भी पड़ेगा. Like this. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki Jai. Sadgurunath Maharaj ki Jai. Let us study for some time Adhyatma Ramayana. Thank you, friends. Wholehearted thanks for all of you. As every